My name is Becca Pfohl. Today is April 7th, 2025. The time is 3:58 p.m. We are at the Pewaukee VFW. I'm interviewing Marshall Clark, who was born on December 7th, 1946 in Euclid, Ohio, and served in both the Vietnam War and Desert Storm. Marshall Clark was an E-4 in the Air Force and served as an aircraft crew chief. This interview is sponsored by the Bell Tower Memorial. My first question for you is, what were you doing before you entered the service?
I was in high school. Graduated from high school in 1965. I went to work for a machinist company for a while until I tried to decide what I wanted to do. And by the end of in a couple months after high school, I joined the Air Force. And I joined the Air Force. My brother joined the Air Force a year earlier, and he was really happy with it. And I decided that I would like to work around aircraft and maybe learn something. And that was the big push in 1965, was to build up all the militaries at the start of Vietnam. So I decided I would go in the Air Force. It's a 4-year enlistment as compared to 2 or 3 in the other services, but maybe I would learn something. It would be more interesting. So that was my decision to do that.
All right. You enlisted as opposed to the draft, right?
I enlisted. I didn't go in a draft. That was what I was concerned about. I didn't want to just go in the Army for a couple of years. I figured my brother was so happy with it. I'm going to do it, and I'll spend the extra couple of years, and maybe I'll get some sort of education. And I like working around and being around aviation. So that was my motive.
All right. Tell me about your early weeks of training and how you adapted to military life.
My early weeks of training in August 1965, I went to basic training at Lackland Air Force Base in San Antonio, Texas. That was a 6 weeks basic training, and because we had such a big buildup then, and the base was full, the first 4 weeks was basic training, and then I went to my tech school training and finished my last 2 weeks of basic training at Shepherd Air Force Base in Wichita Falls, Texas.
All right. What were you trained to do specifically?
I put in for and I got aircraft maintenance. Like I said, I enjoy working around aircraft and aviation, and I thought this would be good, and I would learn something. So, so that I ended up, like I said, at Shepherd Air Force Base. Finished my last 2 weeks of basic, and then I went into an 11-week training session for aircraft maintenance.
Okay.
And that was like basically a 40-hour week after I got out of basic training. You went to school 6 hours a day, and you went back to your squadron and did duties, anything from cutting along to cleaning the barracks. But the good thing was, after that, the time was mine. It was just like going to school. So weekends were off. I could go to town, whatever I wanted to do. So I enjoyed basic that tech school because we were able to work on what we called Century Series aircraft, 1 and 2 jet engine fighters, and you really got into it, inspecting and learning how to work on it. So that was interesting. I enjoyed that.
Did you make any friends in training?
Oh, sure. That will be something I will say about the whole military. Is the wonderful friends you do make, the way you bond, comradeship. It was just that was my favorite thing about all my military experience. Okay.
All right. Where were you stationed when you got out of training?
Okay. When I got out of training, they sent me to Nellis Air Force Base in Las Vegas, Nevada, for 6 months, and I learned how to work on the aircraft that I was assigned to, the F-105 Thunder Chief. The F-105 Thunder Chief was the aircraft that was being used to bomb North Vietnam. Rolling Thunder was called, and sure enough, after 6 months of that, they qualified me on the rifle, the M16, and sent me over there for a year assignment.
Where specifically did they send you?
Oh, I'm sorry, to Thailand, which is in the war theater. That's why I'm a Vietnam veteran, because we were about, like I said, we were bombing the north. And Kra Thailand is in the middle of, kind of like in the middle of Thailand. You have that map?
I do have the map, but I don't have it handy.
Oh, okay. But anyways, Thailand is directly west of Laos, Cambodia, and Vietnam. It's close. Okay.
Did you enjoy your work?
Oh yes, I enjoyed my work, and again, I go back to I enjoyed the people I met. And let's remember that I was 19 years old. I had no obligations, no family. I'm just young and ready to do anything. And so I actually worked graveyard shift the whole year I was over there, from midnight to 8 in the morning.
Can't imagine that.
No, well, actually, and my job was pre-flighting the aircraft, inspecting it, and getting it ready to fly for the missions that were normally flown during the day. So that's what I did for the whole year. I was over there in the same shift. Food was good, and we talked about what hardships did we have. I saw in that there aren't many hardships for a 19-year-old, other than being away from home. But like I said, I met so many friends, and it was a good experience.
Did you write any letters home or to your brother?
Oh Lord,
yeah,
every day. That was a big thing. I had a girlfriend back in Las Vegas and friends, and every day on the base post office, red light would go on telling you that the mail was in. And you go down there and check your little box and just hope for something. And if it wasn't anything there, yeah. But then if you got something, you was excited to come home and read it. So that was it. We had 6 days a week I worked a graveyard shift. My day off was Monday, so I could do whatever I wanted. We'd go down to the village and party with friends, and just eat out and have a good time. So all in all, it was a year that it was good, but all I did was my job.
What did you do for fun during your time off? On your day off on Monday?
On my day off on Monday?
Yeah.
Back and take a nap, because I was, like I said, I was on graveyard shift. And about 2 o'clock, me and a couple of my best friends, we get on a bus and we go to town and we find a place to go to eat. Love Thai food.
Me too.
We have adult beverages, of course, and you just kind of like party all night, and then go back to the base, and that was it. So the routine was pretty much the same the whole year. I can't say anything crazy. One of the highlights there was my brother, who was joined the Air Force a year before me. He was stationed up at Udor in Thailand, and he was a avionics tech and electronics type technician. He's a year older than me, and he came there in his third year while I was there in my second year. So I was the only person I know that got a 3-day pass, so I was able to fly on an Air Force plane up to Udor and spend a whole weekend with him.
Wow.
So that was a highlight.
Yeah, I would say.
Very nice, even family. So when you got short, we call it a short timer. When you got down less than 90 days, you start getting real excited to come back to the States and everything you knew. So all in all, it was rewarding that I did my job. I spent my year serving my country over there, and I believed in what we were doing for sure. And so I have no regrets about that at all.
What did Thai people think of you?
Thai people think of me?
Yeah.
Yes, that was wonderful. No. No, the Thai people are very friendly. And I found that in all my travels, whether it's Saudi Arabia, Egypt, all my travels. Basically, you hear so much bad things about different countries and the people. People are wonderful everywhere I met. I was amazed in Saudi Arabia, Thailand, Egypt, how anxious they were to talk to you and ask you questions, and they were just people wonderful all over the world. I don't have a negative view on foreigners as far at that time as far as that goes.
Good to hear that. So then you went home. Uh,
I went back. Well, I left there. That was a year deployment. I had a 4 year
yeah.
obligation in the Air Force. So I went back and I put in. I liked Las Vegas so much that I forecasted for that. I asked for that, and I got it. And it so happened my best friend from the whole year was over there. I talked him into it, and he went back about the same time as I did. So we went. So we went back to Vegas, lived there for a year and a half, trained on a new airplane, and that was a good part of my life because we, it's like 40 hours a week, like a regular job. But don't forget, you're in a regular Air Force.
Yeah.
You're not. You got to go to work just like you do on any other job. So I was able to get part-time jobs. I parked cars at the Mint Hotel. I bartended at a bar off base. I made pretty good money.
Yeah.
But I was working 80 hours a week.
Mm-hmm.
But I was 19, 20 years old. It was easy.
Good time.
So, yeah.
Did you do any gambling in Vegas?
No, yeah, sure. Nothing big, just video poker and stuff like that. But it was a fun place. And the nice thing about Las Vegas was it's a military town because Nellis Air Force Base and Lake Mead Naval Installation are big there, and the people there really treated you good. Because you hear all the horror stories about people coming back from Vietnam to different cities and the protests and them getting spit on and all this sort of thing. They were wonderful for me from the time I got off the airplane in Las Vegas. They even had a military appreciation day where if at night you could wear your uniform. You just had to wear your blues uniform, go downtown, and your food, drinks, everything was half price.
Wow.
And they treated me wonderful in Las Vegas.
I believe it.
Later on, I can tell you when I got home, it wasn't quite the same, but my 4 years in the Air Force was an amazing experience as far as I'm concerned.
So what did you do after those 4 years?
After those 4 years, I was discharged because there was such a buildup in 1965 for the Vietnam War. So many people went in 65 because that was a big push when they went from 50,000 in 2 years. They went up to 500,000 people were over there. So in middle of 1968, they didn't want everybody getting out at the same time, so they gave us an early out. So I got out 7 months early. They said you can get out, you can finish your enlistment. It's up to you. And at that time, being a young guy, I want to get home. Yeah, we'll take it. So me and my best friend who came back there, we got out at the same time.
Good luck.
And we drove. I know it's one of the questions was how did you get home? They gave you the Air Force gave you a travel allowance that covered your airfare and all your expenses back to your original home base, which was in Cleveland, Ohio. Okay. So then when I got out, we went back to Cleveland, and him and I showed him around Cleveland and had a good time for 2 weeks. We went to, and then we drove to Cleveland. I mean, to Milwaukee, to his place, and spent a couple weeks there. And that's where I met a girl who I married and I've been married to for 54 years from Milwaukee. And that's why I'm in Milwaukee now since 1970.
All right.
So that was my Air Force part of my career.
Okay. What did you do after the Air Force?
I did a job for a couple of years here in Milwaukee. I actually worked for a scrap dealer in an office. And after 2 years, my brother, who worked with a phone company, he kind of talked me into applying, which was great. So I applied to Wisconsin Telephone. I became a cable splicer. for 15 years, and then I was promoted, and I spent 18 years as a manager after that. But during that time, after being out in 8 years, I got out in '69.
Mm-hmm.
So in 1977, I went to the state fair.
First time?
No, I don't think so. But this is the first time. No, I had been, because we'd been up here since 1970. I used to go to the Rex Mays Classic and all the stuff at the state fair. But they had a booth in one of the big pavilions there that the 128th Air Refueling, the Wisconsin Air National Guard had a booth there.
Yeah.
And I walked up, and they were offering people, previous military people, a 1-year enlistment. If you liked it, you could stay. If we don't like you, we'll ask you to leave. And you'll get your old rank back, which with that time was an E4,
yeah.
Buck Sergeant. And I joined up because they had just gotten the new jet tankers. So I spent 19 years there, so it gave me 23 and a half years total service. And I had a great career with a phone company. I love my career. But I'm an air guardsman. I go once a month for a weekend. Mm-hmm. And I go on trips with the aircraft as a crew chief. We accompany the airplane on cross countries and go all over the country.
Sounds like a good gig.
4 days, so it was so much fun. And the biggest thing about the Air Guard was the wonderful people I met. Now, those are the people I still communicate with today. I'm a member of the 128th Retirees Association. We have a luncheon every month. And I didn't start going about 10 years ago. It's amazing to see all these people I knew 20 years ago. I just love it. I still go. So that was, like I said, the people I met, the cross countries, it was, it's just a wonderful experience that I'll never forget, part of my life. Plus, the thing about that is I had 23 years in, although a lot of it was National Guard. I went in there for a part-time job thinking this would be fun. And it was, meeting all the people and doing all the trips. But I didn't realize when I turned 60, see, if you're full-time for 20 years, as soon as you get out, you get your benefits and your pension check and all that. So when I turned 60, after I had been out for 12 years or whatever, my benefits kicked in, so I could fly. Space available with the Air Force, I could fly all over the world after 60,
wow.
Which my wife and I have done. We've flown to Europe, Hawaii, and a place like that. Plus, I got a pension I never thought of. Turns out that wasn't too bad. At 60, I'm getting a pension. And
my dad would be jealous.
Oh, yeah. Well, you got to do the time, You got to do the time. But I also didn't realize the medical care, TRICARE for life, it's called. Once you go on Medicare at 65, well, I get the TRICARE started when I retire, but at 65, it's amazing medical. It really is. So that was a wonderful surprise to me and my wife. So yeah, that was my Air Guard experience.
I know that you served during Desert Storm. Will you tell us a little bit about that?
Okay, now Desert Storm, you figure you're in the Guard, probably never get activated anything. Like I said, I got to do all these little cross countries and travel. I went to Germany twice for 4 days.
Great.
Yeah, we had a good airplane. We just parked the airplane and put it to bed. It was never broken, and then we go sightseeing for 4 days, or whatever. And so that was interesting. And what else did you say in that question?
Was serving in the Vietnam War different from serving in Desert Storm?
The Desert Storm thing.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so then the Iraqis invaded Kuwait, right? And they had desert, what do they call it? We had Desert Storm, and the preparation leading up to Desert Storm, when all the people were going over there. I went to Saudi Arabia for 2 weeks and got to meet people there. We were kind of like on standby. It was called Desert Shield. I'm sorry, that's what it's called. So I went there in October, figuring it's going to be weather won't be so bad, it won't be so hot. So this will be good. And I'll do my 15 days. We just took aircraft over there to be on alert in case things started. But it was 115 degrees and humid by the Red Sea every day. It was quite an experience. And we came back, and then lo and behold, 2 days after Christmas of 1990, we got activated, and our unit went to Cairo West, an old air base outside of Egypt, western side of Egypt. And I spent 3 months there. Now, here's where we talk about hardships. You mentioned that before, being a young person, I didn't consider a lot of hardships. But here's where it came in for my wife. So I was there for 3 months. My wife was home with two high school age sons. And she's by herself in the wintertime. She totaled a car and ran off in a snowstorm.
Well,
she wouldn't tell me. She didn't want to worry me. My other son was in high school, was a senior, and he was injured in a downhill skiing accident for the ski team at Waukesha South.
Yikes.
He had a pin in his leg. She didn't tell me about that until we got home, because she didn't want that to play on me. And then don't forget, we didn't have internet, phones, nothing. My contact with my family was once a week. We went down to a bank of phones, and you got 20 minutes to call home and talk to your family.
Only 20 minutes?
I think it was 20 minutes or half an hour, but you had to wait in line.
Yeah.
But that was my contact with them in Desert Storm. So I exactly spent 3 months in a wake up, I call it, and I was home at the end of March. We show these pictures. We're kind of done with this.
Sure.
Okay. Then your next.
What were your living conditions like in Egypt?
Egypt, we lived in a tent.
Yeah.
Tent city.
Tent city.
But they were air conditioned and heated. And I have to say, in Egypt, January through March is pretty nice, like 70s. It wasn't bad. So I didn't have the hardships other than being away from home like my wife and family did. I felt terrible at home and found out this stuff happened, but took about a month for put our family back together, and we were right back to where we should have been. So it worked out great, and I'm proud that I did it. I am.
Okay. Was serving in the Vietnam War different from serving in Desert Storm? If so, how? The
big difference is being in a regular Air Force.
Okay.
You're in a regular Air Force, that's your job. You're committed for 4 years. It's, when you're, they say there's no such thing as deployments. That's your job. A deployment is the Air Force if they decide to send you somewhere temporary duty. They want to send you for 3 months here, 4 months. That's a deployment. In the Air Guard, you work your civilian job and you go for the meetings or your training. You actually worked on the airplane down here at Mitchell. And if something happens, then you get a deployment. That's what Desert Storm was for me, a deployment.
Yep.
So, got a couple of pictures. Here's the one that's damaged, but this is actually the only picture of me at Krat, Thailand. I'm on the left there, 60 pounds lighter, and it was my good friend there. So that's what I was.
I'm just going to hold it up for the camera.
Then we had these big dormitories, no air conditioning, and this was just a couple of guys hanging out on the second floor doing that. I'm telling you, I got anything else from deserts. No, that's pretty much.
This is your retirement party.
Yeah, that's the last thing I'll show you.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was Vietnam.
That was.
Now, I can show these from, do it as quick as I can. This was the 10th city we lived in. The entrance, kind of the pseudo entrance into it, is called Camelot, as in camel. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
uh,
Take your time. We have a.
A lot of these I
Yeah.
did. Yeah, this is the aircraft we work on, KC-135. That's the other thing I think I should mention. In the Air Force, when I went from the F-105, when I got back, which I trained on a different aircraft, okay, which was the F-111.
Which one was your favorite, would you say?
I don't know if I'm a favorite. F-105 was an awesome airplane.
Mm-hmm.
The let's see, what do we call it? Oh, I wanted to get some pictures of it here.
The iPad, it's underneath.
Yeah, I'll make this real quick. Go to pictures here. In this album, okay, this was the F-105 I worked on
Mm-hmm.
originally.
F for fighter.
Yeah, that's the fighter. Then where's the swing weight? Oh, here. Okay, now this aircraft was a swing wing F-111 that I worked on when I came back to Nellis. Okay, see it has variable sweep wings. The wings are swept back for high speed.
Mm-hmm.
And there's only one other I want to show you. Okay, this is this last one here. Here's that F-111 when the wings aren't swung. That's when they're out for slower travel, and that's the KC-135 I worked on with the 128. So those are three aircraft that I worked on. That's kind of what I wanted to show you.
All right. All great aircraft.
Oh yeah, the KC-135. I've been flying it for 60 years. It doesn't break. It's a wonderful airplane. It's easy to work on.
Plenty of experience.
Oh yeah, it was. Well, I guess. All right. Here was our 10th city in Egypt.
Mm-hmm. Enclosed.
Okay. Another one there. And when I got back for the phone company, the celebration they had for me, if you in my office, see they put sand all over my desk, so it's a military stuff and all that. So
Would have been a
it
headache
was
to
pretty
clean
funny.
up.
It was pretty funny. So I guess that's pretty much for the pictures.
All right. I see you have the hat with you. If you want to
Okay,
talk
now
about that.
this is the hat we were allowed to wear, the Aussie hat in Thailand. The pilots, everybody wore this hat. I like it. So it doesn't fit anymore. It's shrunk and it's hard as rock. So, all right.
All right. When did you officially leave the military?
I retired from the Wisconsin Air National Guard in October of 1996.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. What do you consider to be your most important contribution during your service, either Vietnam War or Desert Storm Shield?
My most important it's nothing more than really doing my job, being there,
Mm-hmm.
and progressing. we had, like I said, I went to school, tech school and all that, and you did uh, correspondence courses through the Air Force. And then you'd have to go down to your squadron unit when you finish one and take tests and all that. And I progressed into the levels that I needed to get to do my job.
Mm-hmm.
So don't consider myself a hero, just a guy doing his job, like any other military people.
That's all anyone can do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was gratifying. And I noticed one of his questions was, how did it help? What? How did it help your career after getting out? Well, did I didn't work in aviation anymore, but I had the experience, so I was able to join the Air Guard
Mm-hmm.
and do that job, do the same job, train on a bigger aircraft. So that's what that did for me. So I don't relate my career as a phone company, which I loved and was very successful, to my military career so much.
Okay.
But I wouldn't give it up for anything.
What would you say are some life lessons that you learned from your service?
Life lesson, that is work ethic. Work ethic. Don't forget, when you're in the Air Force, you're a full-time Air Force, and if you don't call in sick,
Yeah.
okay, it's work ethic and discipline. You don't call in sick, you go to sick call and show that you're sick. So it's so you learn a work ethic and discipline, and I think that's what I learned a lot from the military. Okay, and learn to work with, and that's the whole thing about the military is working as a team. Teamwork is so important. You're not an individual. You're an individual and trying to do your best, but you're not an individual when it comes to the team. The job gets done by by working as a team, everybody together.
Do you think that helped you with management at the phone company?
Oh yes, yes, yeah, yeah. I like to think I I excelled in both because of the love I did for the work that I had to work, and supervising great people, great technicians.
All
It
right.
was good.
What do you want young people to know about the Vietnam War?
About the Vietnam War,
Yes.
the Vietnam War, that's a whole can of worms you can open up. Uh, when I got back to Cleveland when it was over, and I went to work for a while for Case West Reserve University, and I saw the protests on campus. I was outside watching a big protest right in front of the Cleveland Art Museum. Uh, police had horses, the police had the horses and they were throwing stuff at them. And that, to me, that was sad. I hated to see that, but I don't know.
All right.
Well, how did you, let me see what?
Do you want me to re-ask it? What do you want young people to know about the Vietnam
Yeah,
War?
well, about Vietnam War, I would like for them to know that we didn't go over there. We went over there with a sense of doing our duty and doing our job, and I don't think they realized that the political aspect of it was we weren't fighting to win the war. We were over there in a political war, just trying to maintain supporting our allies. And to me, we should either got out or we should have finished it, and we certainly could have finished it. We fought it limited. They tied our hands behind our back. Okay. As far as like the pilots, they could hit only certain targets. They hit the same target every day. They knew they were coming, and that was so frustrating. So to me, it's just the way the war was fought was wrong.
Yeah.
But you got to make up your own mind on that. So
yeah, seems like a good spot to close this. In closing, this has been an interview of Marshall Clark regarding his service during the Vietnam War and Desert Shield. My name is Becca Pfohl. The time is, what time is it? Let's say like 4:34 p.m. Thank you for agreeing to this interview, and most importantly,
Becca, thank you so
thank you
much.
for
It
your
was so nice
service.
talking to you.
You too.
It really was. So.